right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to HIT.OR.DIE podcast, episode 90. We're here with your hosts, Jake Saldati and Chad Rawford. And our guest today is none other than Leonard Davis.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining the show.
No problem, man. Glad to be here.
Leonard and I go way back to city days where we lost a couple balls over the fence. We'll get into that, but real quick, you got a sponsor today?
Yeah. My daughter goes to VForce Elite Gym, and just like a lot of small businesses, they've been hit with some hard times this year. They do have a give back to the community program. They donate to Toys for Tots, Creek Fire Families. They've done a lot of stuff. They're having an auction into January. They're collecting auction items, silent auction items. They're also taking sponsorships, donations, just to kind of help keep the doors open. They've had to lay off, I think, their entire staff. I'm not quite sure. But my daughter loves it, and I know a couple other families as kids go there, and they get a lot from it. And from 18 months to 18 years old, they have a lot of kids that go through there, and they do a lot for the community. So if you can, VForce Elite Gymnastics, we'll have a link to the flyer and their sponsor flyer in the bio. If anybody can help out, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then head over to Benediction still for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's my brother-in-law's restaurant. I didn't put that out there. I don't really like to. I mean, he's my brother-in-law, but
everybody,
I'm not doing it just because of
right.
that. But it's great breakfast.
A lot of people could use the help. So anytime you can go local, man.
Any local
help
place.
out local.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's New Year's Eve.
Well, it's
Yes, sir.
Yeah, today's the 31st.
Yeah.
This will be out. It'll be the 2021. I think we can all agree. Let's get 2020 out of here and move on. But let's go back in the time machine, back to Dos Palos days when Dos Palos was a powerhouse, more well known for football. You had your older brothers, Marquet and Rodney, go through there as well. And we were talking about, I think you guys at that time you were catching De La Salle almost in that
Win streak.
Can you take us a little bit back to high school days? And you played football and baseball. All three of you guys did. But what? Just the streak, and none of you guys lost a game while you were there in high school, and just what that was like.
It was so much fun. It's kind of trying to go back. I might be suffering from CTE, so I might not know a lot of stuff from back then. But just going back, just like to the high school and being there now. And you see like the trophies. You see the rings. In those glass cases. Like the high school kids today don't really know about a lot of that stuff. Because they're moving in from all areas now. But just going back and having to talk about it, man, I love it because like you said, my brothers, Rodney and Marquet, man, they was great. I was a younger brother. They was always there for me. We always competed 100 miles an hour. It didn't matter what we was doing. They always competed and we got each other better. The days that we was winning, it started with all coaching, man. It's just like you be in the locker room, man. It was quiet. Game day, it was quiet. Nobody said a word to nobody at all. Like my best friend Kenny, he was just like, "You ready? Ready." That was it. And mess up, man, you get on them. Get on them about it. But I remember, I think it was like 9/11. I think it had happened, and we was looking for some games to schedule, and we didn't have anybody to schedule. So that's why we ended up playing Berkeley out of Oakland. Because nobody wanted to play really. I remember sitting in Sparks' office, and me and Kenny was in there like, dude, like, just get some of them Clover schools on our schedule, dude, because they always like, just like coming from a small school, like the bigger schools, like, oh, man, he's playing nobody, and all that, like, go get, Edison, I remember, I'll never forget it, like, man, me, Kenny, Clifton Smith, it was like a bunch of us at this Fresno B, newspaper thing, and they were just yapping. I'm like, oh, dude, it'd be great. It'd be great to play them, dude. But it never happened. So we ended up scheduling Berkeley, and Berkeley played against De La Salle on those teams. So we went out there and we did what we had to do. Like I said, it all started with coaching. He prepped us before all Max Preps had came out. Sparks had everything like drawn on paper. Stats and everything before it all had came out. And we went out there and we did what we had to do. I think at halftime, it was like 40-0 at halftime when we was up. you know, and then everybody was like, wow, okay, you know, they're the real deal, you know. And then I'll never forget, like Kenny coming into halftime. He was like, how you feeling? How your body feel? I said, man, I'm beat up, dude. To be honest with you, I'm beat up. I know we up like 40-0, but like I'm beat up. You know, he was like, dude, that turf sucks. You know, that's the first time we ever played on turf. You know, so we was all scraped up. You
guys
know,
are used to playing in cow pastures in the country.
Man, country. You know, but it's like, man, I'm scraped up, dude. You know, but just kind of just backing up a little bit and going back to my brother Rodney and Marquet, though, like I said, they the one that started everything for me toward just like watching them. You know, when I was a freshman, Marquet, my older brother was a senior, and Rodney was a junior, so we all went to high school together. You know, and it was just great just watching them. I was on the JV squad, and I just never forget just kind of looking over at the varsity practices, just both of my brothers just killing it. You know, I'm like, man, dude, like that could be me one day. You know, like, man, both of them running back, they split both times running back. You know, so. Just like I said, just looking at them like, man, okay, this is what I want to do. I love football. Football is my thing. You know, like I was good at baseball. I was great at baseball, you know, but football is because I was just violent, man. I just wanted to hit, you know what I mean? Hit, you know. So by the time I became like a junior, my brother Marquet and Rodney already had graduated. You know, I was on varsity then, you know, so they had graduated, you know, like I said, every day I think Rodney was at City and Marquet was at Fresno State. You know, we talked every day, just go in there and do what you got to do. Just listen, you know, I said, be humble. Everything that you do, just be humble. And everything that I did from that Monday to that Friday for game time, it was just like, okay, phone call, here it goes. You know, Rodney, Marquet, dude, do your thing, bro. Do your thing, bro. You know, so all right. You know, and that's what we did. You know, that's what we did, and I'll give honor to them because of how much they was there for me. Just like the younger brothers, just looking up to them. You know, there was like never a competition thing. It was just like, I'm gonna get you better. I'm gonna be rough on you, but I'm gonna get you better no matter what. You know what I mean? You're gonna hate me a lot of the times, but I'm gonna get you better, and that's what they did for me.
I bet being in a small town too helps keep guys under control. You know, 'cause word's gonna get out if you're messing up.
No, it does. It does.
Especially the Davis brothers.
Man, no, it does, man. Like, because small town, man. Like, before you do anything stupid, man, before you get home, your parents knew about it, you know? So, you know, they already knew about it, you know? So you was getting that discipline when you got home, you know? So that's why I think that's why we are great kids now, because we got that early discipline, you know? And we well deserved, man. I'm telling you, it was deserved. That discipline was deserved, but like, it makes you better people too. And just like, everybody like in our community at Dos Palos back in the day, like when I was playing ball, like it didn't matter who it was, like the project days, like we was all there playing, you know, and we grew up from little kids from kindergarten all the way to when we was, you know, graduated together. So that's why the chemistry was so great too, you know. And we would just go out, man. We just go out and we go play football in the yards. You know, once that got over, we play strikeout. You know what I mean? Just it didn't matter. It was just like a ton of us out there. We didn't have enough gloves to play baseball. You know, so it was like, hey, you know, pitcher's hand. You know, like pitcher's hand. You know, so we like, you know, so we're just like, if we have three gloves, 4 gloves, it'd be 10 people out there. Like, man, just leave a glove out of position, dude. We go out there and run and get it. You know, so and that's how it was. And I honestly think that's why we grew up, and that's why those teams were so great coming up through, you know, those college years and being that small community, you know, because like I said, it was just like everybody knew everybody. Like we all played with each other since we was kids until we was like seniors in high school, until we graduated, you know, and to this day we all talk.
I was telling him a story that you were also the kicker on the football team, and you did it old school. You did the steel flat toe toe bash.
Yeah.
So kind of tell our audience like how that went about happening, and then what you had to do also after every touchdown.
Yeah, so it was rough, man. It was rough. There were some times where like I wished I wasn't, you know, a punter or the kicker, because I wanted to spat, man. I wanted to look good too, though, you know. Man, I wanted to do all that. Like I'm looking at Kenny, man. I'm like, dude, like you looking dope, dude. Like I'm over here, like I got one ankle spatted, you know, the other one is just not, you know. But it sucks because, like, you know, being a quarterback, and then, you know, if I have a play to where, like, Sparks would call for me and I score, like, a 70-yard touchdown, I have to run off the, you know, get the touchdown, run, sprint to the sideline, you know, put the shoe on, you know, strap it on and everything, and then go kick the field goal and leave it on for the kickoff, you know. And it was just, man, it was tough, man. That was one of the toughest things I had to do, I think. You know, I think my junior year, I honestly think there was a couple of times where I think another guy ended up starting to kick field goals. I'm like, oh, Yes, man. I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is good because it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, just being athletic, being able to punt, all that stuff when we was kids. And that's what we did, like going to punt, passing kicks and, and getting first place and winning and, doing all that stuff, but it was just, man, it was a great time, but it was always a great time too, to where like when you was up by 50 points in the first half, I was still on the field, so that's what I loved about that too, though. Like,
so it was type of Iron Man, right? You got defense, special teams, offense, all of it.
All of it, man. All of it. Like I said, we didn't have we didn't have just a defense. Everybody was just mixed in. We played both ways. We were dead tired, but but Sparks, he knew. He conditioned us. He prepared us for every Friday night, every day, and it always started from that Monday to Friday. And it was great.
So you did you play anything else besides baseball and football? Did you play basketball too, or anything?
I did. I played basketball. I did. Basketball was my thing. I wasn't a good shooter. I wasn't a good shooter. That's when I can dribble the ball. I can dish it to somebody, but I was a terrible shooter, man. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. But yeah, just like my baseball. But baseball, man, I love baseball because like the coaches at the time was it was Jason Von Allman. He was a great dude. He was a great dude for me to where he came back when he was young. He had that energy. He gave us that energy when we was like, at the teenage level at that time, and it was just great, and then we had Mike Bazaar, and he was just out this world, like Jason, he kind of was right here. Like, I don't care how you catch the ball, you just catch it. I don't care. Bazaar, like, he'd get on you about some stuff.
A little more fundamental stuff.
Yes. Yeah, man. But, and we was all talented because we just coming over from multiple sports and stuff. And, and we had a great team. My sophomore year in baseball, we won Valley. That was a great team, probably one of the best teams I played with, and it's the same kids that I grew up with, when we was younger, so it was just great, man. It was just great to get out there. Like I said, even though they were a little older than me, I was the youngest one on the team, but they accepted me, and we ended up doing what we had to do. I think we ended up going like 27-3 and won Valley that year, and it was great, man. It was good times.
It's funny you say that too, because, to be the younger guy, I mean, maybe in that time, it was probably tougher than it is today. Yeah. You see a lot more younger kids at the varsity level than 20 years ago. I know we had one guy on varsity as a youngster. So for them to accept you like that, and then it helps having two older brothers. True.
Yeah. True. My brother Rodney, he was up there too at that time too. So it was good.
Rodney could bang.
But I mean, to win, right? That's what it takes.
Oh yeah.
You can't be divided. So.
No. Absolutely. And then like I said, you played multiple positions, like that's why I became a utility player like later on, because my high school days, our third baseman was hurt. We was able to go just jump from center field to go to third base, because we athletic enough to do that. If my brother Rodney went to go pitch, he was an everyday shortstop for us, but he closed, he threw real hard, so, and I would come from left or right, center where I was at, and I would go play shortstop, so that's why we all got really good at every position that we was at, even like I think when I went to City College, I was just like mainly right field, because like there's other schools in Fresno, they third baseman guy, you got their second baseman, you got their shortstop, and they have a whole pitching staff, like our center fielder finna come in and start fourth one day, like our left fielder is starting fourth today, so that's how it is in the small towns, and it sucks now because of how things is going. You got pitch count, high school days, we got pitch count, and it sucks because it's just like, man, like, dude, I don't know who I'm gonna throw next, because the arms, they're not the same as when we grew up. To where like you don't see 93, 94, 95 on a regular basis now in high school. It's just like from the high 70s to like mid 80s maybe. And you might get that guy that throw extremely hard at one time. But like other than that, man, it's just like I said, times is tough nowadays. Like just for like the baseball players, like going back on what you said, there's not, when we was growing up, there wasn't not a lot of young players, but you had those teams to where like everybody was just so good, man. You didn't really need a freshman on varsity. No. You didn't need a sophomore up there. You know what I mean? Like you had to be extremely good. Like you got to get drafted out of high school at that time. You know what I mean? To be able to get on some of those teams. But like now, like I had to call like 4 freshmen up. But these freshmen, they really good. You see, they developed. Just being me as a coach. I've been there. I have the experiences, the experiences that I had learned when I played pro ball. you know, I can share it with them, you know, and it was great, you know, to where they look up to you, you know, because of your background, you know, and, you know, that's what they want to do. They love baseball. And it's been great for me as a coach at Dos Palos.
You know, we've seen lately on like Twitter, and Twitter's a dangerous place, I got to say. But the conversation of kids specializing, like, we've both are against it,
Yeah.
you know, and I think you're a prime example of, you know, a reason not to. And maybe if you're a senior signed somewhere by that time, maybe, okay, whatever, don't play basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
But you played multiple positions, and even in pro ball you did,
Yep.
I noticed.
Yep.
But in football as well, and basketball, and I don't know, I think that caters to a college coach, and then there's not a place we can't put this dude.
Yep.
It's athleticism.
Yeah. That's what they're looking for maybe first, right? I mean, you're a decent ball player, but now I want to recruit the kid I can play anywhere.
A lot of four-year colleges, they recruit shortstops. Why do they recruit shortstops? Mainly that's the best player on high school anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
But then that shortstop can play second. He can play short. He can play third. He can play first too. So they try to get the best infielder, you know. So, I mean, we had a good example of Nando in high school.
Yeah.
He didn't like being a utility guy. But when you explain to him, like, look, you're more valuable being a utility guy and knowing how to play all the positions.
Yeah, and the further you go, I think the better that suits you.
I think people need to work on that more and be more versatile than just one position. Or
not just specialize in one sport, but
Now,
even
like,
within that sport, expand the roles that you can play.
Yeah.
It keeps you in the lineup, man. I tell you, that does. It keeps you in the lineup, man. Just like even when I went to go play pro ball, like I was, you know, I got drafted as a third baseman, you know, but I was at City. I was a right fielder at City College, you know, but I got drafted as a third baseman, you know, but like I was able to learn these positions because of my high school days going back then, you know, but I loved it when I became that utility player because I always stayed in the lineup. I mean, that's what some of them kids don't understand. Now, like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to go out. I like, dude, if your name is in that lineup every single day, I don't care where you're going to be. Make sure you get your at-bats. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
you're trying to play.
You're trying to play. Get your at-bats, you know? So that's why I move kids around all the time. My first baseman, he'd be in left field sometimes, you know? Like, I kind of move them around just so they can just know it and get it. If that's something they want to do, like I said, because, like, I was an everyday, you know, in college, I was everyday right fielder, but got drafted as a third baseman, you know? So, younger kids they don't understand that. They settle on one position. You know, I had this one kid in high school. He was always the better player. You know, he was always the better player because I called him up as a sophomore. He was always the better player on the JV side, and I called him up as a sophomore. I can hear him saying from a distance. I had my lineup written out, and I can hear him like, I ain't never hit seventh. You know, I'm like, you know, so I like, so where you want to hit at, dude? Like, I didn't know. Like, I wasn't, you know, like, where you want to hit? Like, well, I usually hit 3 or 4. I said, okay, cool. Like, I'll go change my lineup then, you know? So I go back to my lineup, write it back in, you know? I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, Coach, I ain't playing. I said, you're not playing. You in the lineup, dude. There's dudes on this. I got 6 dudes on the bench right now. Don't even get no playing time. You over here complaining because you hitting 7th. Now you ain't gonna play. You know what I mean? So that's my coaching style.
I love
it. So that's my coaching style. You know, that's what I love. You know, because like it honestly, I think it helps them with just life and in general. Just like later on, you know, just like nothing is handed to you.
Yeah, well, it's not what's best for you. It's what's best for the team, man.
Best for the team, man.
And if it's 7th that day, it's 7th.
Yeah, when I played pro ball, man,
Prove to me you're 3 or 4.
Right, man. I played pro. I hit everywhere in the lineup. I led off and I hit 9th. I was in that lineup. It was just glad to see that name on there, man. That was it for me.
Then at that level, though, if you're not playing right, it's a bad thing. I mean, you guys, you know, so.
Well, take us back to the glory day.
Yeah, I just between the brothers.
Oh, but okay.
Who honestly, who was the best? Who was the better athlete of the 3 of you?
I was definitely the better athlete. I was definitely the better athlete. But like, I can't take full credit though. It's because of them though. You know, it's because of them. Because like I said, the way they pushed me and it was hard on me. You know, I don't think Marquet was as hard on Rodney as Rodney was hard on me. I think I had Rodney and Marquet, both of them tough on me, you know, so I think that brought the better out in me than they can actually do for themselves, like competing in high school, because they were only 11 months apart, you know, so they was always there with each other, you know what I mean? Then the younger brother comes up, you know, and I had both. It was double time on me now. You know what I mean? It was like I have to be good. You know, if not, I want to.
And you got to see it too with your own eyes.
And I got to see it. And I got to see it. You know, I would definitely, me personally, from just what I'm hearing, you know, just from people that I talked to, like I was a better athlete. Marquez was definitely the fastest. You know, Rodney was the strongest. You know, and like I said, I was just a better round athlete. That's it. So
I also read some stuff, and you could attest to it. It was people. Some of the articles I read, you know, before we started talking, was that Kenny James might have been probably one of the best section running backs in history. Like they say in history, and you've seen, you know, a lot of football. Chad as well. How good was he?
Now he could have played for anybody in the country. He would have started for anybody in the country. He was just a monster in the backfield, you know, like and the way Sparks ran his offense, if you don't stop him, we're gonna keep doing the same play until you stop him. We're gonna change nothing up, you know, at all. Like I threw the ball, like I was a quarterback. I threw the ball like 3 times in the game, you know what I mean? Because it was like I'm handing it off. He getting 15, 20 yards of pop, and you just knew he was like, oh, like maybe 2-3 carries, he gonna 80-yard touchdown, and bam, he would just go. And he wasn't just it wouldn't be easy. Like he would drag you, he would run you over, he would shake you. Like it didn't matter at all. Like, you know, like what you did on defense, he was gonna find a way. You know, a lot of these kids today, like coaching high school football, they don't understand it. Like we only played one half of football when we was in high school, you know, because we was up by so much in the first half, and Sparks was never that coach to kind of run up a score, you know. So the second team, third string would play just as much as, you know, as we did. But if Kenny would ever play a full game to where like we would be up like 40-0, 50-0 at halftime, he'd have 600 yards rushing easy. Probably 12 touchdowns. That's how he was, you know. But it was always back then. It was like Kenny, like 15 carries, 380 yards, you know, insane. 6 touchdowns, you know, and that's first half, and that's just only one half of football, you know.
Video game numbers.
Yeah, that's how it was. And he, like I said, he was a monster, and he was bigger, you know. He was a bigger back, you know, and he was 5'8", 5'9", and he 195, 200, and he was just strong, man, strong.
I believe. I mean, I think he went to Washington.
Went to Washington, yeah. Out of high school, he went to Washington. I think he had some. He got hurt a few times, and it had sucked for him. Just kind of talking to him on the phone, because like every year that he was there, man, they were switching coaches left and right. You know, and that actually sucked for him, you know, because the people that had got him there, you know how politics work. You know how that stuff works when you get into, like, you know, colleges, you know, pro ball, you know, and stuff like that. You know how it worked. Like, those people that knew you in high school is like, okay, this is who you plan for. And when they leave, you like, you know, like, now you got to reprove yourself like almost every single year after that, you know. And then those same coaches, then they go get their players, you know what I mean? So this is who I got, you know what I mean? So I'm bringing them with me, and this is how it is. And I think it was like rough on Kenny, you know, because of those coaches, and I think he got hurt a few times, you know. But I think he was still a monster to me. I was watching him on Saturday. He was still a monster. He did well. He did what he was supposed to do, you know. But at the time, man, Pac-10 was packed, dude, you know. And Washington was on the bottom of that schedule, you know. They was at the bottom, and he did what he had to do. But like I said, it was just it was just great watching him, just like being from high school and then like going into college, man. It was just, that transition was just awesome for us.
And how was talking about football and baseball, you thought you were going to be a football player.
Yep.
What was that transition like? Did you have schools after you, or what was the thought process of why you chose City?
I chose City. I wanted to do multiple sports. You know, there was some schools, I think it was like Missouri was after me. But it was all because like these Kenny, you know what I mean? Because they had like so many people after Kenny, you know, and it was like, you know, man, I need to go kill too, you know what I mean? Because like, just because they coming to see one person, don't mean the other person can't get looked at.
For sure.
You know, so I kind of took it as that, you know. So I had a couple of schools looking at me, but like, man, it was football. I'm like, I want to play baseball though. I love baseball. You know, I was hearing so many great things about just like, man, you a lefty hitter, dude. You know, you strong. You know, like, man, you should probably stick to baseball too. Like, you know, so I went to City and I played. And I remember talking to Scott. You know, had a few questions for Scott and asking him like, okay, what position? I don't know, you know, type things, you know, and he's like, well, I got you in the outfield. I said, perfect for me, you know, I can run it down, I can run the ball down or whatever it was, you know. But it was like a no-brainer to where it's just like, man, just like I didn't want to like limit myself, you know what I mean? I wanted options, you know, too, as well, just like not football, you know, because like the way I played the game, I wasn't very big in high school. I think I was like maybe like 5'8" and maybe 170 or something it was. But I played like I was 6'3", 240. I would hit you like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, sometimes I'll be like, man, like, whew, I have a headache. You know, but any given day in football, like, your career can just be over, you know? And it was just like, dude, I want to play baseball, you know? And I heard people like, dude, like, my career, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't got to take those, like, them blows, like, every single play, you know? Like, you know, you have injuries in baseball, you know, but it won't be like, you know, football to where, like, you ain't never do anything in life ever again, you know, if you just take the wrong blow, you know? So that's why I went to college. I went to City, you know? I wanted to do both, you know, because I was football first, and I loved football, and that's what I wanted to do because I always looked up to my older brothers.
And then you chose, so your first year you played football and baseball.
Yep.
And then you didn't.
Nope.
The second year, which was my first year there.
Yeah.
Which was probably one of the best teams Fresno City ever had. And I'm not just saying that because I was on the team. I mean, I guess you could say that. But
No, I can vouch for that though.
I
man.
mean, we
I can
were.
vouch for that.
I mean,
I haven't talked to many as an outsider that would disagree with that.
I mean, I would probably say the 2001
there's a
team
handful of teams
was
it's in the
really
top 5.
freaking good with Asahina and Braun.
Yeah.
Not Braun, but Asahina, Mills, McGill. I mean, that team was just stacked too.
Yeah, they were stacked, man.
Yeah. I think Rodney played one year, and then he went to just football only.
He went football, Fresno State, yeah. He went to State out there.
But you know, talk about your time at City and how much fun it was there.
Man, it was great, man. Like I said, my first year, I would try and do both, you know, just playing. But getting to college, man, it was different. You know, for high school, you could just jump from sport to sport to sport to sport, you know. But just like the work, you know, that you had to put into it to play football, to play baseball, and it was tough, you know. And I did it the first year, but playing football, coming from Dos Palos, you know, it was just like, man, like I played every single game, like every game, every single down, almost pretty much, you know. And then you get into college, like you look up and like, man, there's like 6 or 7 of you out there now, you know what I mean? So you got to get better, you know. And I never forget it, man, because like when I got to college, I didn't play no offense, I was all defense, I was at safety, and the dude that was in front of me was Matt Giordano, man, you know. So it was like, come on, dude, like what I'm gonna do here, like. You know, and then like I ain't gonna say I was better than him because I was not even close at that time, you know, to where like, no, this dude deserved that spot, you know what I mean? But just watching his work ethic, dude, how fast and how strong this kid was, man, it was like, holy cow. And even when I was in college, I was like, I might see this dude in the NFL one day. You know, I remember saying that to myself, like, this dude in front of me, just starting in front of me right now, he gonna be in the NFL, dude. It's like, there is nothing that I can say to Coach C. Like, dude, I should be playing, I should be starting. Like, nah, that wasn't the case. That was not the case, man. Like, dude, they can put me on special teams, you know, but like I said, and then going over into baseball in the season, but you know, playing there my freshman year, and man, it was great. I remember my freshman year, I led the team like home runs, you know, it was just great, like being there, like with Coach Scott. And I think I got hurt. I think I got hurt like mid-season, I think it was. I had twisted my ankle, and it was just bad for me. But this it was just great, man. This baseball was just great. The atmosphere was so much better than football was. You know, like I said, I had a lot more fun just doing more baseball than like football. You know, but it was just like at that point, I just knew like okay, I want to do baseball, dude. Like baseball is fun, you know. Like I'd be banged up in some games after them city games too, like banged up, you know. And it's like, and I didn't play a lot on defense. It was more special team stuff, and it was like, dang, like I'm not trying to run a lineman over no more, dude. Like on kickoff team, I'm not trying to do this stuff no more, you know. But I think I actually went out my sophomore year. And then it was just like, it wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same because like I had so much fun that freshman year in baseball, and that's what I wanted to stick with, you know. And honestly, I got tired of people like, oh, you the little Davis, you know, like Davis brothers, you know. Like they always talk about Davis brothers. I wanted to make my own way too, you know. I didn't want to be like you, Rodney and Marquet's little brother all the time, you know what I mean? I just wanted to make my own, you know, my own path, and you know that's why I chose baseball and to do that, you know what I mean? And at one point, I don't know if people know, but at one point, like after my sophomore year, 2004 in baseball, because Rodney was coming off a great year, his junior year in football, and Marquet had a decent year his senior year at Fresno State. I think Marquet was a junior. They was both there because I think he had red shirt or gray shirt or something because he had surgery. But we all could have went pro in 04 at the same time, you know, and that would have been crazy, you know, it would have been crazy. And I remember we talking about it, Marquet, Rodney, and me, we would be talking about it, and he was like, dude, like, man, that'd be great, dude, like 04, that draft, like you can get drafted in baseball, you know, we go football, you know, and I say, yeah, that'd be cool, you know, but I just got tired of people just like out there. I'll be in Fresno sometimes, like, you one of them Davis brothers? Like, yeah, Rodney Marquet little brother? You know, like, yeah, dude, yeah, that's me.
Well, now they know that you were the best one of the three.
Absolutely.
You know, how was Scott too? How much? I mean, from Chad and a lot of the guys that I've talked to, you know, being just a real players coach, and I've never heard a guy not enjoy his time there. They're very rare. If I can't remember if I've ever heard anybody say they didn't enjoy their time.
And if they didn't, it's because they didn't play.
Yeah, or they were one of that. They were one guy that got cut or something like that.
Only reason why, yeah. Like I tell a lot of kids, man, like to go to City College, man, like you got to be good. You got to be really, really good. I ain't gonna say don't go there. I said, but if you go there and when you see some of them players that go to City College, like you might feel a little defeated when you get there. It's either you gonna just like, yeah, I'm done, or you gonna get a lot better to work harder, because that's what Spark did. I mean, that's what Scott did. He played the best players, you know. He played the best players, and he was a coach's player, man. He was fun. He told jokes, you know, and it was great, you know. And to this day, like if I see some talent out there, I send him a text message like, hey, dude, like, hey, man, like go get this kid. Man, I was in some All-Star games, and a Sonora coach had hit me up, and he was like, you know anybody like that you can talk to, like to get this kid to go play, you know? And I can, you know, to see like where you want to go. Like one of the Fresno schools, I said, City College has got a great program. A lot of kids, you know, they get drafted out of there all the time, you know. He was like, yeah, see, so I hit up Scott, and sure enough, he was like, yeah, I know about this kid. You know what I mean? I've been trying to get him to get here for a long time, and I think he ended up like signing like somewhere else, like it's like San Francisco area or something like that. But like Scott, he's just all around good dude, man. You know, he was always out there. Like I said, he was like he runs a great program. That's why he's been there for so long. You know, he runs a great program. You know, he ain't afraid not to like play. Even you can be a great player sitting on that bench playing for Fresno City. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, but that's how he was.
Well, and when you guys were there, that's kind of what it was like.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we had 50 to 60 guys in the dugout.
Easy.
And probably 20 of them were redshirting.
Yeah.
That could have started on any other.
And I think that
Absolutely.
says a lot for what Coach Purse has done at Reedley and Coach Allen at COS.
Yeah.
You know, and Merced was always really good, especially when you guys were there.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, at that time, City was letting dudes go.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't even playing.
Yeah.
So just a different time.
It's definitely a different time. Yeah. But we were talking before this. Andy was talking about a home run you hit, and
I'll never forget it.
It was against Sac City, night game, and I told him too. I was like, I didn't. The ball disappeared. So if you've ever been to Fresno City, there's a building behind our right field fence that's about 50 to 100 feet past our fence, and then past that building is McKinley. And I swear that it went on McKinley, because this ball went over the lights and disappeared into the night. And I mean, I hit some bombs, but that ball, I remember I was in the hole, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
And Sac City's no slouch either.
Back then, it was us and Sac City were battling for that North #1 spot, and they were freaking good. And they had guys throwing 95 plus. And
man, they threw hard, extremely hard, like all like #1 to like the 4. You know, it was like, man, I gotta see 97. You know, I gotta see 95. You know, like gotta see it. You know, but like I don't care if you threw 130. If it's flat, that ball's finna get crushed. You know what I mean? It's like it didn't matter, you know. So
he said the pimp job of it was pretty good too.
Yes.
So my brother, he videotaped it.
Oh, we gotta get that.
He videotaped it. You know, I gotta see if he still got that camera, if he still got that. But he had videotaped it, because I remember I did pimp it. Like that's why that was one of the first times. Like honestly, I felt bad though. I hit it so far. I hit the ball so far. You know, it was just like a no brainer. You know, it was like.
You can't just do it normal.
No, but I was shocked myself. I'm like, damn, like it disappeared. You know, I'm like, wow, okay. You know, I kind of walked a few steps, point finger. I did all that, you know, and then it was just like, man, like I probably shouldn't have did that. You know, I'm gonna get hit. I was probably you start thinking about other stuff now.
Ross gonna get plugged.
Not that team, dude. That team, we were pimping everything.
Yeah, we was. Yeah, it was just good. Like that chemistry, that was great. You know, that team probably could have beat some minor league teams, dude.
Well, and you couldn't afford. You probably couldn't afford to hit a bunch of guys because the next guy up could do the same thing.
Yeah. From 1 to 9, man. The whole lineup was stacked, man. It had a good time.
Yeah, and we also ran out a pitching staff that wasn't afraid to throw at you either. So
Absolutely.
Nobody wanted to get in that war with us.
Was college any option out of Fresno City? Or, I mean, obviously you got drafted, so it was a pretty easy decision to make. But within that time, were there colleges on you for baseball?
It was actually before my scout, Doug McMillan, RIP, he had passed away like when I was actually playing pro ball. He would hit every once in a while. He'd hit me up, and stuff, and I'll never forget it. Like Cal State Fullerton had called my phone. I don't know how he got my number or nothing. I remember maybe a month before the draft. He like, hey, we need a right fielder. Give me 1 year, and we get you first round. You'll be for sure first rounder, And I've been thinking about it, So I'm like, Doug, dude, Cal State Fullerton just called my phone, and
probably just won a national championship in 2004 too.
Yeah, so at that time, so I'm like, he like, really? I'm like, yeah, but at the time I didn't realize what he was trying to do. Those scouts be trying to get you signed for the less money as possible. You know what I mean? They be like, you're not going to. He asked me, coach, you're not going to school, huh? After City, you probably just going to go get drafted. He would ask me stuff like that. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I'm gonna play pro ball one day. Just kind of going off what he was saying. Then when Cal State Fullerton had called me about it, and he was just like, just 1 year, just need a right fielder for 1 year. I'm like, man, you start thinking about it, and then dude, I grew up with nothing, dude. It was just like, man, but I can go play pro right now, So I would lie to you all the time, Doug, man, I might just go to college, dude, because it's a great school, education is great, you know what I mean? But I think I might just go the college route. You know what I mean? I might go from here to go there. I was playing the game too. Now I've learned it later, though. I was kind of playing that game too. And then all of a sudden, University of Texas called. And it was like, well, I think at the time, I think there was. Don't mock me in this. I might not be 100%, but I think they was top 5 in the country at that time, to where it was just same thing. I need 1 year out of you for right field. But I'm guessing they had some draft. Some other kids coming. But just 1 year. Let's give me 1 year. They both had said the same thing. Cal State Fullerton and the University of Texas. I said the exact same thing. Just give me 1 year. We can get you to go first round. And then they had other people in the background. What if you get hurt? What if you get hurt? So it was like, yeah, I'm gonna just sign.
And that was the last Expos draft.
Yep.
Ever.
Yep.
The Montreal Expos drafted you in the 8th round.
Yep.
But then that's 2 powerhouses.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Texas won one in 02.
02.
Mm-hmm.
And then 04.
03 was Rice.
Gordon and Garrido.
And then 04 was Fullerton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's tough to walk away from. And they're probably right. You might have been first round. Who knows?
Man,
you never know.
Yeah, but you're talking, what's your main goal? You want to play pro ball.
Right.
For sure.
Here's the opportunity.
Why wait?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. You get drafted, it's kind of an easy decision to make at that point.
Yeah.
At the time, when you make these decisions too, man, you kind of look at where you live, how your mom happy, your dad happy, at the time, because my mom and dad was divorced, at that time, but it was just I was more staying with my mom, so it was just the living arrangements was just I need to go play pro
Hey, you
ball,
stayed at my
dude.
house?
I did, yeah, man.
Before game days?
Dude, before game, I'd be at Chad's house all the time, and it was great, man. It was always family between me and Chad,
yeah.
and Jim. It was just great time, just being out there, just kind of just hanging out with him, and just after practices, with Chad, and his pops, just hitting, talking about hitting all the time in the cages, and that was just great, just going back, to signing, man, it was just man, just the opportunity to get my mom out of some stuff, and just my dad, and just kind of, just moving in the right direction, kind of even though money don't last forever, you know what I mean? But at that time, I can do this for her, you know what I mean?
It wasn't just about you.
No, it wasn't about me. No, it wasn't about me because they did a great job raising us, even though they didn't work out, but they both did a great job raising their kids, so you know, it was like a no-brainer. I always gave back to them no matter what I did. You know what I mean? I always went back to home to where it was like, dude, mom and dad, like they did this, so I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? So and to this day, and that's how I live to this day. Like I always, like, my dad is there 100%. My mom is there for me 100%. You know, for the grandkids 100%. You know, so I'm always gonna be there for them 100%. You know, so no matter what I do in life, I'm gonna do it for them.
On that day, were you with them? The draft day?
My mom, I'll never forget it. I was with my mom. Scott was there, and I think I want to say Solberg was there too. I think, I never forget, man. Like Doug McMillan, he was sitting at the table, was at my mom's house, and the the guy had called Doug, and he's like, this guy, he said, I don't want to put no money out there or anything, like how much I got and all that, you know. But he was like, but
$3 million.
Like no, yeah. But he was like it was like a negotiation, you know. Like I like Sparks. I mean, not Sparks. I keep going back to Sparks because, man, I love him as a coach, you know. But and Scott too as well, you know. But he was there just so I didn't, you know, they didn't take advantage of me, you know what I mean. So he knew like what I was worth and all that stuff, you know. So he was there, and just like Solberg was there too, you know. So they didn't take advantage of me, you know. So when the negotiations was coming around, you know, about like, okay, like what they want to give me and stuff like that, like because it's being a kid, like just from the projects and like
they already know.
They already know
he's gonna take whatever we give him.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, so so when that phone call came, he was sitting at the table with us and stuff, and they had throw the money out, and I kind of like just look at, you know, Scott, you know, I said no. You know, it was just like that, like nope, like nah. He was like okay, and then sure enough, he stood up and walked. He walked down my mom's hallway. Like he walked down my mom's hallway on the phone, talking, you know, doing negotiation and stuff. And I think it was the third. I think the third negotiations, and we actually had a deal at that time. And within like maybe a few weeks, month, I was gone. You know, I was going to Florida spring training. So.
And how was that transition from? I mean, you were an athlete. You played infield in high school, but you're not playing. You're in professional baseball.
Absolutely.
With absolute dudes, especially Latin guys that can play infield.
Oh yeah.
But that transition for you, how was that?
Man, it was crazy because, like, you know, like from being from a little town of DP and then going to City College, you don't hear about Dominicans. You know, you don't hear about any of them players like that. You know, from where I grew up. You know, but when you got there, I honestly thought there was just, damn, it's hella black dudes here, you know. I swear, like, man, like, okay, cool, you know. So then I went and go talk to him a few times, and it was just Spanish. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what is this? You know, like I didn't honestly, I was like just so far gone from the world, you know, and didn't realize it, you know, because I wasn't into baseball like that, you know, to where like I'm into major leagues and like, man, like, okay, these darker dudes and this and that, you know. I just thought they were just black dudes, you know. So but you find out later, like, yeah, they Dominicans, they, you know, they from Venezuela, they from all these different countries. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool, you know. But just the transition, man, it was just going from college to pro ball. Like I said, you just kind of look up, you're like, man, and you see it, you're like, dude, like I never played third base ever in my life, you know, at City College, and I got drafted, and these dudes been there like since they was kids, you know, and you got 16, 17-year-old Dominican kids out there, and they look like they big leaguers already with the glove. Anyway, they couldn't hit at that time, no, but with their glove, they can play already in the big leagues, you know. So it was like, dude, I felt small. I felt extremely small. You know, but like I said, it was more. I always like to compete. I was always more like I treat everything like a competition. You know, just being athletic. You know, so it was like, nah, I can be that too. You know what I mean? So, and I did, and I took it serious. You know, as a third baseman, and I honestly feel like I got really good. I got really good at third base. First year, I booted some balls around. I ain't gonna lie, I booted some balls around. You know, even my hitting wasn't even there where it was supposed to be. Coming from college to my first year, because of just like going from aluminum to like wood, it was different. It was weighted different. You know, like, and everybody's throwing extremely hard too. You know, like you can't get away with some of them cheap hits like with wood bats. You know, that you can do with aluminum bats. You know, so yeah, you have to learn how to hit. You just wasn't swinging no more. You have to learn actually how to hit, man.
Did they say anything about the third base? Well, like why that was where they saw you?
You know what? I think I was at City College one time, and I think I took maybe 10 or 15 ground balls. I'm not sure if he was there at that time, but 10, 15 ground balls. And no, you was there because they had brought these wood bats out there for us to try out that time, you know, and like, and that was it. Like I didn't think I did great, but I didn't think I did bad either, you know, but I got drafted as the third baseman, you know. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. But like I was just happy to see my name called and, you know, just seeing that online and, you know, and all that. And then I never traveled. I never left California in my life, you know, and it was just bam. I was in Florida, you know, within weeks after I got drafted. So it was good. The experience was great.
Yeah, it forces you to grow up a little bit. No friends around. You don't have the Rothfords to go to or you know, mom to go home to. It's
absolutely
kind of fend for yourself.
No, and it was, like I said, because like I was always with my mom. Like my mom was just there. Like she was my backbone of everything, to where it was just like when I was leaving, it was like, dude, I ain't gonna lie, I broke down. I'm like, dude, like, okay, I'm out here. Then when I got there, I remember like just kind of being in stretch lines. I'm like looking around, man. It was just like, I don't know anybody, and they not friendly either. They're not coming up to you like, hey, my such and such. Like, you honestly have to go make the conversation. You know what I mean? That's how it was, and I kind of felt alone. You know, but if you ain't that person to where you have the personality where you can get along with a lot of people, you're going to feel lonely a lot of the time when you're playing pro ball, because like it's strange being so far away. And I wasn't just like, I'm going to get in my car and just drive home. It wasn't nothing like that. You know what I mean? It was hard for me. That first year it was hard. And then you start getting those roommates and get real close with. And that's really important, I think, to when kids leave, you know, home for the first time. They honestly need like to get some good friends around them, because like it'll make it a whole lot easier for them to when they're leaving, you know, so they don't be so homesick like all the time. Like they won't have to worry about it like too much. Like, man, I just want to be at home right now, because it affected where you play.
Yeah, I remember coming back. I went to Oral Roberts after that year, and you went to pro ball. Yeah. But I remember in the off season coming back and you taking ground balls, and I'm like, who is this? You were like, it's like a complete 360 of who it is. But that's what happens when you're around the Latin guys, and plus you're taking about 2 to 3 buckets of balls every single day.
Every day.
You know, and yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I knew you'd be able to take care of it, but I was like, Leonard looks good at third.
Yeah, you know what? But then, you know, the following, like maybe a couple years later, you know, they go get Ryan Zimmerman. You know, so,
I think it was 05. It was the next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah.
Because he was the first Nationals pick.
Yeah, he was third baseman. It was at that time, like.
But luckily, you could play outfield.
I can play outfield. I play second base. You know, like I moved around. I moved around everywhere. You know, I think the only positions I didn't play was short, catch, pitch, and first, I think. You know, so I played everywhere else, you know, and it was great. Like I said, just being a utility player to where, like, I was always in the lineup no matter what, and that's all I really cared about. So
wasn't Lab in the organization then too?
Yeah, Labby, he was there. He was there. I think I think Labby was on his way out when I think I was probably maybe a few years in with the Nationals. He was actually with the Nationals there. I had some conversations with him when he was there too. So
yeah, because he went to the 08 spring training with the Giants when I was with the Giants. So I think he was with the Nationals through 07. Okay. But then let's get into we're looking at your career numbers in the minor leagues. You had 9 minor league seasons.
I love the energy.
Yeah.
Such good energy. Oh yeah. And like, I'm thinking in my brain, and I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but like, I can't help but have a little bitterness towards not getting to the show.
Yeah, and he had some. We talked in the off season about what happened, but before we get to that, let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah, let the people know.
You had some great minor league seasons, but your 08 year, you absolutely destroyed the minor league system. You went through high A, double A, and triple A, and in 122 games, you batted .353. Your on base percentage was .407. Your slugging was .625. Oh yeah. Your OPS was 1.032, so that's 1.032. So that's really good if you guys out there don't know. You had 28 doubles, 5 triples, and 25 homers with 76 RBIs through 3 levels. And you were actually named the Nationals Minor League Player of the Year. Yeah. And the pitcher of the year that year was actually Jordan Zimmerman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, and then you go into the Arizona Fall League that year, and all of us, obviously, they're like, okay, it's time. This is it. He had his breakout year that he's been doing good, and then boom, he had his breakout year, 3 levels. All right, here we go. Leonard's going to be there anytime now. But just take us through that year, how great that year was for you.
And how hard how hard is that?
Exactly.
You're in one spot, I got to go to another spot, and then not only you're traveling, but you're also
and performing
different levels, and you're killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just going back to that year, 'cause I remember getting that phone call. Me and my brother Rodney Marquet, we was actually golfing. I think Riverside, and we was golfing, and two number popped up, DC number popped up, and they're like, "Hey, Leonard Davis, let you know, like, you was minor league player of the year this year." Like, all right, cool, you know. But just like I told my brother, like, bro, like, you have no idea like how great this year is for me because of from just where I started, from where I finished. Because like that year, when I was in spring training in 08, they actually left me an extended spring. I don't know if a lot of people don't know that. They left me an extended spring, you know what I mean, because the Boone brothers came out of retirement, you know, and the dad, Bob, he was the president at the time, you know, so like a lot of the AAA second baseman, you know, got bumped AA, you know, and then they kind of bumped me just straight out the picture, you know, and like I didn't get mad, I didn't get upset, you know, but when I got left there, you know, it was just like, okay, like I'm gonna show them, like I shouldn't be here, you know. So every day I remember leaving the facilities, and I got up like at 5:45. I was the first one there, cut the lights on. I was just hitting the cage every single day off the tee work, and I did that every single day. And I remember Bobby Williams, he was the GM at the time. He had came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, there's a spot open up for you at in A-ball. Do you want to go?" I said, "No, I don't want to go there because if I struggle, that's where I'm going to be. Like, I'd rather not because I already proved I can hit there." You know, he's like, "All right," you know, so high A, that was low A, you know, so high A position had opened up, and he was like, "All right, you know, I think it was, well, I'm not sure which Boone it was, but I ended up like kind of retiring, I think it was, again, and it kind of opened up a spot, you know. I ended up going to high A and Potomac. And from there, I mean, I just tore it up. I didn't look back. I didn't look back to spring training at all, you know what I mean, to where how they left me there, you know, but it was just like, I'm moving forward from here. I'm not looking backwards. And that's what I did. Like every single day, I just did the exact same work I did when I got to high A. So I got there and I tore it up. I hit like 330, I think it was, a little over 330, had some home runs, and I was there, and I was a double A, you know, so I got double A. It was just happening so fast for me, you know, and it was like, man, okay. So I got there, the double A. I think I ended up going like 20 for like 41, I think it was.
You're batting like 450 something or something like
man,
that.
It was some crazy numbers, you know. And I hit that, and then I went up and I got to AAA, you know. And AAA, like, you know, it was different. It was like, but it was just more for me to where it was like I actually struggled when I got to AAA a little bit because of just like the chemistry. Like I always fed off of other players. There's a lot of bitter AAA players, you know what I mean?
Big leaguers.
Big leaguers. Yeah, you know, so
they call them the 4A.
Yeah, man, like, you know, like I said, and it's kind of like coming from extended spring, going through all like the high A, double A, you know, and going into AAA. And like, I was alone again, you know. It was like, man, there was some time I was sleeping in the clubhouse because I couldn't get a roommate. You know what I mean? It was like, man, dude, like, I need somewhere to stay. Like, where can I go? Like, and nobody would accept you until I had like some other double A players that got called up to AAA, and then we ended up getting a room, getting apartments together. You know, so but just that year, man, like I said, from like where I started to where I finished, I mean, it was great. It was great. And the same thing, like, honestly thought I was going to get that call. You know, I never did, but I did go to that following year. No, not following the same year. I ended up going to Arizona Spring.
Well, they put you on the 40.
They put, when I was in the fall league, I got a phone call. They put me on the 40 man. It was just great. I remember me and Ian Desmond, we were sharing lockers together, and he got the exact same phone call. We was at practice, and we ended up had the same 202 missed calls on our phone. You know, sure enough, it was Jim Bowden. It was Jim Bowden at the time. He had called us and like, "Hey, congratulations on making a 40-man roster," and it was just great for us. You know what I mean? And we, you know, invite to the big league camp, you know, to make the team. So I was like, "Oh man, this is perfect," you know. So following year, and we go into spring training, and sure enough, we there. I'm doing decent. You know, I feel like I did okay. You know, to make a team, probably not. I'd be honest, probably not. But just kind of I was close. But all of a sudden, like, it was like towards the end of spring, I remember like Jim Bowden and a couple other guys had kind of walked in, you know, while we was getting dressed, you know, and it was like, hey, you know, Jim Bowden came in there, he was crying. And it was, these are the people that drafted me, dude, you know, so it was just like, they was all there. All like, I don't know, they got caught up with something. I don't know what it was, like some stuff in the Dominican. I'm not 100% sure, you know, but they resigned, you know. All of them was right there, and then they all resigned, man. And it was like, what? Like, what? Like, dude, like, I'm like around, like, these dudes signed me, dude. Like,
They're the ones that have your back through this whole thing.
They back me.
Which a lot of people don't understand how important that is to have somebody that has your back.
Yeah, they weren't just like financially, they were emotionally invested. And
Absolutely. And like I said, and that same kid, that's Jim Bowden, he was the same one who called my phone and say, yeah, you on the 40 man and getting big league invite, and then to see him, the same guy as resigning, it was like, man, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do now. Like, it's well, you talented enough, just play the game, But in the back of your mind, like mentally, like you don't even know it bothers you mentally when you out there playing, But like I said, in like the following year, and man, it was never the same after that. It was just never the same. Like once they brought the new people in, it was just like I put extra pressure on myself, just like trying to like to reapprove. Like, okay, I need to be in the big leagues. I deserve to be there. I'm good enough to be there. I can compete with anybody. But it just never happened.
Like
man.
You were being seen for the first time.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. That's where it was.
Well, also I remember talking to you because at this point you did have Zimmerman and stuff, so you went back to being an outfielder in your career, but you also had 4 or 5 outfielders that had big league service time in front of you. Absolutely. So when it came down to moving a guy up, you were kind of put on the back burner because of that. That's
what it was. Like I got stuck in AAA. I would never forget. Like I was in my hotel room. Davon White, he was an outfield coordinator at the time. He had called me. He was like, hey, I pushed for you. I tried. You should be in the bigs and all that. I'm like, what happened, dude? Like, he was like, man, look, when I like in 2000, I'm not sure what year it was. I don't know if it was like maybe 9 or 10 or what year it was. But Kevin Minch, Kevin Minch did some big time, and with the in Texas, and he had put some good numbers up when he was there. But he was older when he came with the Nationals, and and he was the everyday outfielder there. But I went up to go take his spot, and sure enough, like when I got that phone call from him, he like, dude, we tried everything. Like there is no way like that kid should ever get called up in front of you because you went up and took a spot. And sure enough, like next thing I know, freaking Kevin Minch was in the big leagues the next day. I'm like, what? It's only because he had that big league time like years prior. It was just like, oh my God, dude. And like, he like, dude, I tried everything. I'm sorry. They'll apologize and everything. Like I said, but at that time to where like now you knew how it worked. It was just like man, like I don't know if I want to do this no more, man. It was crazy because it felt like everything that I did, it didn't even matter anymore almost to a point to where it was just like, okay, like the next person, closest person is gonna be there anyway, so but I tried to give it my all, but like I said, it affected me mentally big time. I did, like mentally. Like my numbers wasn't the same, but they was decent. They wasn't terrible. It was like 280. I hit 20 home runs still, with some RBIs, but it was like every day was a fight within myself, just trying to just reprove them. Like, man, dude, like I deserve to be in the big leagues. Like, why haven't I got that call yet? You know what I mean? But like I said, being on that 40 man, when I was on the 40 man, like that sucked for me too, because it was, I remember my agent had called me, hey, they took you up to 40 man. And I'm like, for what? You know what I mean? Because there was a player in the big league that got hurt, and it wasn't my position. It happened to be, I think, our shortstop at the time that got hurt. So they had to like take somebody off to put somebody else on. You know what I mean? And I was the one that got taken off, and they put somebody else on until like they got back, but I never got back on there either. So it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about that and that conversation, and I mean, but don't get me wrong. You had over 100 home runs in minors and 350 RBIs. I mean, you had a great minor league career. You did have a little spring training time or time with the Rockies and the Blue Jays. I know you were excited for those because you wanted that new opportunity, like to be the new guy. Not only the new guy, but you wanted a fresh start.
Right.
Well, why you didn't get to the big leagues? You do have a veteran presence.
Yeah.
And that's valuable, I think, to some people too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I just think, it's one of those ones that you're like,
you kind of scratching your head on.
Yeah, but then it also goes to tell you how much of a business baseball is. Sure. And that's where some people, when I say it, because I've said it on our show, is those guys don't deserve to be in the big leagues. And there's a lot of people that say, well, they're in the big leagues. Everybody deserves to be in the big leagues. Well, here's a prime example of that. I'm not, when I say that, I'm saying it from experience of,
well, we've heard it from other people,
happen.
Other, guests.
And that's what sucks is that's the business side. You have a lot of people making decisions that some of them aren't baseball people.
Absolutely.
And there's a perfect case where this guy's name should be on the wall at Fresno City College. and it won't be. But that shouldn't be anything to take away from his
No,
career,
absolutely
because
not.
he had a great career. And, you know, you're back at your alma mater doing great things.
And like you said, you've taken all that experience and you get to mold other kids. And,
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, Dos Palos is still putting out great athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were so you live in Lemoore or Hanford. You live in Hanford. You drive to Dos Palos every week, but you also coached you were at Sierra Pacific before Dos Palos. You guys won a Valley title right the year before you left.
Yeah.
And then you've been at Dos Palos for 4 or 5
4 years.
4 years now.
4th year.
Was that something that just kind of came about, or was head coaching or coaching just something you knew you'd end up doing?
Well, it all just like I always wanted to work with kids. Like going through player appearances and stuff. Like when we was there playing ball, like there were some some unfortunate kids that you had to go work with. I worked with some kids with autism. Worked with some kids that was Valley Children's Hospital. I had went to a camp. I never forget. Like these kids, they had cancer. And it was just different. My life had changed at that moment to where it was like there's bigger things out there in life than just than you. So I wanted to give back. So when I got back, when I got done playing, me and my wife, we just sat down like, dude, I want to coach. I want to coach because the things that I've learned, the experiences, I want to share it with them. Just coming from a small town in Dos Palos, like they don't see anything outside of that. Really, they just stuck there because the poverty is it's bad there. They feel like this is what they got to do. This is what my life is going to be like as a freshman, sophomore kid. Like, okay, my job is already lined up for me because this is what my mom and dad does, So, but they have to look at, they don't see the bigger picture, and they had the perfect opportunity for me because Jason Von, who I had talked about when he came back to Dos Palos, when I was there as a sophomore, he was the principal at the high school. And there's a job had opened up for me, not for me, but a job had opened up. And I had told him, man, he wanted me a coaching job. I think the baseball coach ended up getting the football job. So they needed a baseball coach, and then our guy, that was in the position that I'm at now, he ended up moving to Fresno, and he moved his kid to Fresno too, and he got the job there. So it was a job and a baseball coach job opened up for me, and he had called me, and he was like, hey, you want it? I actually said no because I've traveled. That's a long travel, man. I'm like, nah, dude, and I kind of laughed it off because I thought he was just kind of joking with me, and then he sure enough no, it's opening up. If that's something you're really serious about, you're not talking to my wife about it, and she was like, if that's what you want to do, I said, honestly, it is, it is because just being from Dos Palos and kind of going back to the games and, just seeing it, it's not the same to where we were at, to where I was there, so I wanted to give back anyway. So I go there, and when I got the job, the coaching job, and I got that other job at the position, it's just I didn't want to influence just Jason, make him look good for hiring me. It's I wanted to actually work with kids. I wanted to work with staff members, to show who I am as a person. I'm a caring dude, and I don't just care about just win. Some coaches would do that. It's just I want you to succeed outside of just baseball, just life, and that's the way my coaching style was just it's more of just trying to teach life lessons as well to these kids that's struggling in baseball, or just struggling in life and the poverty and everything that's there in Dos Palos, so I got these kids on my team, and I just talk to them about life all the time. Just talk, man. Let's open up. We talk and I share my stories, when I play ball or how I grew up, so there's nothing y'all can tell me that I never been through or I seen, so but everybody have to work through whatever it is. It don't matter what it is. You have to work through it. And like I said, I was kind of taking them through just life things, I said, dude, when you up there in that batter's box and you up there hitting, I'm at third base, you see me at third base, I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, because that's the last thing you need. You just somebody yelling and screaming at you and got you all messed up mentally and everything like that. But if you hear me say anything hey, battle, you know what I mean? Hey, you ain't struggling. You know what I mean? It's always the competition between the pitcher and that hitter. You know what I mean? So don't ever feel like that he got you. I don't care how that guy is, how hard he throws or whatever it is. It was always more of just dude, you're going to struggle. That's life, man. That's just life. You're going to struggle in life. You're going to have some uphill battles, you know what I mean? And just baseball. And that's how I relate my coaching into just the life to when they become seniors and they graduating, and they be like, okay, now I get it. You know what I mean? Dude, it's just me and that person, or just that's the only job that's keeping me from being successful like later on. You know what I mean? Just that's that picture. I mean, he's the only thing that's keeping me from being successful, you know, with hitting and stuff like that. So that's how I coach. You know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of kids can relate to it. I mean, sure enough, I get a lot of kids mad at me. They get upset, you know what I mean, because they felt like I'm not making the right decision at the time, you know. But the way you have to explain it to these kids sometimes, man, it's like a marriage, man. Like it is. It's like a marriage. You know, you can fight, argue, scream, yell, whatever it is. You know, at the time you might hate them, but you still love it. You know what I mean? No matter what, you still love it. And so, and that's when I finally got to the point where they can relate to it like that. They won't go far no more. You know what I mean? They're like, oh man, I hate Coach Davis right now, but oh, he's just a good dude. You know what I mean? So it's stuff
they may
like
say that, and a year later they may be like, man, he was right.
Now you know what? And it's crazy you had said that, because like I remember my son. He was wrestling. First year I ever doing anything, he was wrestling. And I remember he had to lose like 4 or 5 pounds, I think it was, for his wrestling match. And me and my assistant coach Ryan Uriart, we got an in shape thing, 7-day pass in shape, and we took him into the sauna. Man, we took him into the sauna, like try to drop the weight and everything. And I was in there with him, and we was in there. And me and Ryan was sitting there having a conversation with my son. And 2 of my old baseball players walked in, and it was Nick Lopez and Ozzie Moran. I will never forget it, because these 2 kids had quit basketball, they had quit football, and I remember them. They pacing back and forth in front of my room, but they were some baseball players too, you know. So it's always up to the coach if you want them on your team or not, you know. So they pacing back and forth in high school, and I was like, "Come in here, y'all having a conversation. Come in here and talk to me, dude." He's like, "Hey, Davis, yeah, man, I know we did this, you know." I said, "Get out of here." Right. So they ended up they left, you know, and they came back, you know, I said, man, have a conversation, dude. Let's just sit down. Let's talk about it. You know, like, why did you quit? Like, I just wanted to see if they pick their brain just a little bit to see if they going to be quitting baseball. You know what I mean? To see where their mind is at and stuff, you know. There was no excuses for them to quit anything anyway. You know what I mean? I just wanted to see if they're going to have an excuse for it. But they didn't. They're like, we messed up. You know what I mean? We messed up. I said, all right, cool. I think, honestly, y'all teenage kids, y'all deserve opportunities, you know. Like, I was a teenage kid, you know. I had some run-ins with some coaches, you know, but they gave me those opportunities as well. You know, so that's what I did, you know. So I said, y'all more than welcome to come out to play baseball, but y'all can't come out until the other sport is over, that y'all quit, you know. So they come out there a little bit late, and they ended up being some of my best players. They've been I was like the profanity. I didn't like it, you know what I mean? Like the one dude, like, you drop the F-bomb all the time, and it was one of them. He always knew to just to get up and just take off running. You know, as soon as he said it, he would just take off running, you know. But it was these same kids. I think it was like 2 years after they had graduated. I was in that sauna, and they came in there. He's like, Coach Davis. I said, what's up, Nick? What's going on, Ozzie? How's things going? He's like, good, Coach. And I swear, he kind of turns and he looks at me. He's like, hey, Coach. He's like, hey, thank you so much for being hard on me. I promise you. Thank you so much, because like if it wasn't for you, honestly, it wouldn't be where I was at now. And he's finna become a correctional officer. You know, I'm like, that's a good stuff, dude. But this is why we coach. And I told Ryan, too, my assistant coach, I said, this is why I do it, dude. This is why. Because when they freaking graduate, I mean, they can still come to you and they like, hey, Coach, they had that relationship with you, and still not just a baseball relationship, but just you want to see them do good like after high school, and just, you know, to see them be successful at everything that they do. You know, like I said, it was just that was like a better feeling for me to just see it, man. Just especially coming from those kids, man. There was some knuckleheads, man. Man. But like I said, they stuck baseball out. They was in my lineup every day. You know, one was the pitcher. You know, and they did great, man. They did. And like I said, I honestly think that just has to do with like the way the coaching style of what it is. You know, it's just like a respectful thing to where like you can, if a kid respects you, they can do, you can say anything to them. You can yell at them, you can scream at them. It don't matter what it is. If they respect you enough, they're gonna come back to you the next day, no matter what. But you got some of them kids where like you can't change. You know, they life at home ain't good. You know what I mean? So you can just do whatever you want on campus. But they going back to the exact same thing every single day. So I can talk to you on campus, but it's square one always when you come back, you know, and they ended up getting, you know, kicked out or doing some other stuff. And to this day, I still reach out and see how they're doing.
Yeah, I think I think it helps coming from, you're from there.
Yep.
You're from
Dos
Palos.
True. Absolutely.
They can see like, I'm not meaning for it to like I can get out, you know, but that's the way you, Marquet and Rodney, you guys wanted out. You guys wanted to go bigger and better and that. So you kind of bring that back to, a small town that,
And you have pride for where you came from.
so I mean, you're actually teaching these kids like, look, you can be happy from where you're from and still go on and do big things.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. And that's why I like the position that I'm in now. Like I run an in-house program. Like, and they come to me like pointing fingers like all the time about these teachers, this teacher. I said, like, what did you do to get sent out of class? So I kind of like just put it back on them, because that's the first thing they want to do is just point fingers, and like, what did you do? Like, you ever take responsibility? Like, you know what? I messed that up. Like if you ever just said that to a teacher, like one time, like, hey, you know what? That's my fault. You just never know how they might react. It might be something totally different. They can look at you something different. Like, this kid's grown up. Like, man, you know what? Like, maybe I'll give him another chance. Like, he did apologize.
For sure.
But if they see things like that, it's honestly, I think it's better for the kids too. But like you don't get a lot of teachers like that either, though. Like I work at a high school. I work with a great staff of teachers. Like great. They all caring. But I've been to some high schools to where like I can see like teachers is just there like for the wrong reasons. And it's just like, and I can see why those kids get so frustrated. Like those ones like who struggle, I can see like why they get frustrated. Like, oh, they don't care about me at home. They don't care about me at school. So like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm just going on the street to people who love me. You know what I mean? So that's why, so that's why I care and I can show them that I care because I really do. Our staff members, I honestly think they do a really great job at just kind of like showing our students like we actually really just care about your future and not just being there for a check, and it's, and kids, they pick up on things. They pick up on a lot of things. And it wasn't too long ago, like I coached girls basketball JV, and just kind of been there. And I didn't know her dad had passed away a few years before, and just me being that role model, that coach, just kind of pushing her through some stuff, and just turned around and all of a sudden, like I took her mom. And I actually took the whole basketball team to go eat one time because we got beat up on, dude. Like we got beat up on, man. Like our JV team, we only had like 6 players, So, but I'm dealing with girls who never played the game. I'm teaching them the game, but I want to keep the fun in it. You know what I mean? So, but we started losing by like 50 points to actually start winning some games. So I remember we got blew out, man. We probably lost by 70 points. It was no joke. And I saw the mom and everybody was there. I said, hey, I'm treating everybody to Pizza Factory, So we all going to eat and stuff. Just having a conversation with the mom. Like she didn't know English or anything, So, but she was just doing the translation part and stuff. I think it was like maybe a couple months ago. This girl, she came up and asked me, hey, my mom want to know if you'll be my goddad, So it was just like, what? You're like, yeah, like she wanted to know, like she wanted me to ask you, and sure enough, she had like this form because they Catholic. They had the form, and they had to sign all this paperwork and everything. Like, yeah, absolutely, like it's an honor, dude. But this is why we do it. Like these kids know, like there's somebody who cares. What I mean, on campus, it don't matter who it is. Even if they see a disagreement with another teacher, they will walk right into my room and they'll be like, Davis, can we talk? Absolutely, and that's like it's always the open door policy for me. Like. I can talk to you about anything about life because I've been through the gutter, I've been through the dirt, and I've been up here too, so we can just talk about in between. I can relate to it all.
Yeah, I think that could be adapted to anybody. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's big. I mean, and sometimes it's hard, because everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
And then some.
I think this is a good point of view for those smaller schools out there in high school because I feel like. A lot are on the track and like the bigger schools, but they don't have. A lot of the coaches don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, but you see stuff happen at those bigger schools too. We've heard things, we've seen things, and I think that can apply to any program, any coach.
Oh yeah.
Whether you're Clovis West, Buchanan, Clovis High, Central to Chowchilla to Kerman to Hanford West to Kingsburg. To all of them, Bakersfield, you name it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Winning's great. It is a great thing, and that's what we strive to do. But even Coach Ware said it a couple weeks ago. 2% of kids are going to play college baseball or Division I baseball.
I think that's what I mean more is like the concentration on winning is in some of those other schools are more important than the actual kids themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah,
and I feel like when you're at a smaller school, that's where it kind of you have to put things in perspective.
Sure. You do.
Yeah, you don't have you just don't have those athletes. I mean, it's not
absolutely
complicated.
Nope, absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, like you talk about winning, like winning is good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good feeling to win, but like it's better feeling to win in life. I mean, life is just better. Just like when you get out of school and then you win, then it's so much better than that championship trophy that you won in high school. Like when you win in life, that's just a good thing. Even though you got to be consistent, like you got to be consistent in everything. You know what I mean? You can't just like win in life and then think you can do the same thing because everything changes up. But you got to keep working at it to keep winning. You know what I mean? Just win. If you want to win, just win, but just keep working at winning. But you're gonna fail. Everybody know that you're gonna fail. But when you do fail, you're gonna have that drive behind you to get up too, though. You know what I mean? Because this is like what I like to instill in those kids, because in baseball, like you're going to fail more times than you can succeed. And that's the same thing in life. That's just a life thing. You're going to fail in life, but how you get back, how you get up, and I talk to them every day, all my students. Like I coach football, I coach girls basketball, and, I'm baseball. So it don't matter what kid that I come across, I give them a little bit about myself, just a little bit, because like I don't know their background like that. They tell me their background after they know mine, though. I get to know these students like individually. Like I start a relationship with mom, dad. To see like how I can help them.
They gain that trust.
They gain that trust, absolutely. So I just not on. It don't stop on campus for me. It's more just like who's your mom and dad? You know what I mean? Like. And I pick up the phone and I call mom and dad, like, hey, I just had a conversation with such and such, if you need anything, just let me know. And no matter what it is, just let me know. That's it.
See, that even goes back to like the very beginning when you were a sophomore in baseball. How many teams do you see where players are hating on their own teammates?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
How are we going? What kind of culture are we creating?
Yeah. Like times are so much, they different, man. Like times is different from when we grew up. So like I can't even compare the two now because.
Do you take it like you hear people say kids haven't changed? I hear that all the time. Kids haven't changed. I mean, have you heard that? You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Kids haven't changed. Do you honestly believe that?
Man, like just from what I know, like just from how I grew up and just for I only can speak for myself, and I can't speak for that. I can't speak for Chad. I can't speak from the other kids, like my friends and anything. Like I only can speak like for myself. Like when I was a teenage kid, I was a knucklehead. Yeah, absolutely, man. You get those attitudes. I have a 15-year-old son now. You know what I mean? They get those attitudes, but the disrespect level was different. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I think that's where it's at. It's just the disrespectful level was so different to where like when I grew up. The way like my dad was, it was like my dad asked me to do something, right? And if I didn't get up and do it like right away, and he had to ask me twice, it was and he had to get up. It was already too late. I don't care if I got up and sprinted and got it and anything. It was already too late. I was getting whooped up on, you know what I mean? But like nowadays, like just the kids, like I can hear conversations just like with parents, with kids to this day, like even some of my players, some of my students, and like. Shut the F up. I'm like, what? It does. That's different.
Your jaw kind of just hits the table.
Yeah, it's that's different. That's just different, And then I was like, if it's like that, like I'm in no position to tell a kid, my player, or student how to talk to their parents, nothing like that. I said, just don't do it in front of me. I said, no, I didn't grow up like that. I don't like it. Just that disrespect level was up here because I know if you disrespect your parents at one time, you're going to disrespect me, and I don't like it. I don't want to see it. Yep. I do not want to see it. And they respect you enough not to. They would. Some of them just don't care.
Yeah, we always told our guys, if you want to be, I guess it doesn't matter what sport you're in. If you want to be good at it, be good to your parents.
Yep.
Be a good son. Be a good brother.
Absolutely.
Sister. Respect your teachers.
Absolutely.
All that stuff will lead you to being good in whatever sport you're doing.
Nope.
Or in life.
Life. Yeah.
Because your job.
And listen, I'm not saying when you hear people say, well, kids haven't changed. I don't mean that negatively. The times have changed. The culture is different. We didn't have iPhones when we were kids.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. There's more substance for these kids. There's more exposure to other things for them. When I hear kids say, I don't really watch baseball. What are you talking about? But there's more access to other things.
No, it is.
So don't tell me kids aren't different. A little different. Maybe because that's just because of the times. But kids are different.
No, they are. I just speaking for my 15-year-old son, like I remember he was like 5, I think, when I had started like my playing ball, and he was he was always around me. He flown to Florida with my wife. He was in the clubhouse with me. you know, but it was like it was just something in him. He just like, he wasn't a sports kid. You know what I mean? Like I said, I love him. I love my son to death. It don't matter what he do in life. I'm going to back him, support him no matter what, you know what I mean? But at some times, we're like, you know, being on this, at the time when he was the only kid, like I wanted to talk to somebody else just about like, you know, some sports or just like how I'm feeling, you know, like even though my son was a little bit younger, like I could have a conversation with him, you know what I mean? He was like a little more, he was like more mature for his age, you know, and he like, Dad, you okay? You know, just stuff like that, you know, like I'm good, dude. You know, I'm kind of baseball has kind of just been rough on me. And then just a hug, you know what I mean? Just giving you a hug is just all it just goes away. This is life, man. This is what life is about. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that. You know, like with just him. But just growing up with nothing. You know, growing up with nothing. And the way I grew up, you don't ever like want your own kid to grow up the way you grew up. So I tell my brother all the time, I said, dude, like these kids are spoiled because of us. Like we did this because we didn't want them to live like us, dude. Like that's our fault, dude. Like even though you try to push them in the street, you try to go do this and do that, like dude, like then you be worrying and like, okay, he been gone for 20 minutes. Like I'm gonna go check and see if he's outside. You know what I mean? So it's just like, no, because the world it's changed. It's crazy. Kids get snatched up left and right. You know, but knowingly that my son is in his room playing his video game, I know he's good. You know what I mean? Just like it's like I said, it's probably terrible to think that way, but just caution on like more of the cautious side. You know what I mean? It's just like I just have like a better feeling of just like, you know, I was in the street like until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody messed with you at that time. Nobody did nothing. The police like, hey, just don't tear nothing up. That's all it was. You know what I mean? But we was able to walk home with nobody messing with you. Like nowadays, like you just like people just trying to start stuff. They're not fighting. They shooting. They doing all this stupid stuff. You know, honestly, like. I don't mind my kid like being on video game, being at home. I said, but we're gonna do some other things too. Like he can do it with me. We can like, hey, we're going hunting. You know what I mean? You know, we're gonna go outside. We're gonna do this. We're gonna play this together. You know, but he's at that age now. Like he's a 15-year-old kid now. Like he have his own friends. Like, he go do his own thing now. You know, but like just when we was kids, like dude, I would never want nobody to grow up like this, dude. Like this is rough on us. Like you said, like you know, it sparks fire under you to where like you don't want to be in that position either, and it makes you become a better athlete, a better person, and just a better everything in life because of you just don't you don't want that for nobody.
Nah, for sure, man. And
I'm guilty.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
You know, we're guilty. So, I really hope. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to pull from this. There really is. The story is awesome, and again, I just love your presence and
Appreciate it, man.
There's no doubt in my mind that whatever team you're coaching, win or lose, they're gonna benefit from having you around.
Absolutely.
You know, and
Thank you.
I really think the more people that can get to this, the better.
Yeah.
You know,
and we've been trying to get this for a while too, so I'm glad we got to do it. Over
and like
break.
I said, Chad does not throw compliments out
Right.
often.
Yeah.
But he literally told me you're probably the best hitter he ever played with. Before we do go and wrap it up, I do want to ask you, in all those years in pro baseball, was there a dude that you played with that was just like, whoa? Or the ball sounded different off his bat.
Man, there was a few, you know, like players that like they're kind of grown up, like in like I said, because like I didn't follow baseball like I should have. Like, even when I got drafted, I wasn't like just like into baseball like deep like that, you know, until I got drafted and I started studying it and you know and things like that, you know. But just kind of going and have a conversation. I remember being in spring training, like. I just watching like Derek Jeter, dude, just the way he was just like carrying himself, like dude, just like it was like this gold aura around him or something, dude. Like no, it was just crazy because you know it was him, but he did everything the exact same way. You know what I mean? It was just he didn't change anything up if it was working. A-Rod the same way because we were playing against them in spring training, you know, and it was just like man, like this is freaking crazy. You know, and then you go back to your own facility and you're kind of like walking around, you know, Ryan Zimmerman right there, you know. I'm like, man, dude, you know, freaking Bryce Harper, man, he like right there, like Strasburg, they just like right there. But like, if I had to say anything to when I played, like I'd never forget when Strasburg came just into the organization because I remember watching him on TV. Like we was watching on TV in the locker room, in the clubhouse, and it's like, man, within like weeks he was in our clubhouse, and it was like grand, and everything about that guy, man, it was just like he was probably one of the most humblest person. He didn't like to talk to the media. He didn't want to do any of that stuff. He was the opposite of what Bryce Harper was. It was a total opposite of what that kid was. Even Bryce Harper, he wasn't even a bad kid. That people label that dude as just like he's an a-hole, he's this, he's that. But to be honest with you, like if I was him in a position like that, some of the stuff that I would do too, because of just like you trying to prepare for a game. And there'd be a kid like right there want an autograph, and you sign one autograph, and all of a sudden you got a freaking 1,000 people that want him now. You know what I mean? You don't have time for that. You know what I mean? So you become assholes to a lot of them. Right. So and that's why you like, man, like dude, like I asked him a few times, like, how do you do this? You know what I mean? Like it's like a circus, man. Like how do you do it? He's like, LD. He's like, man, what? He's like, I don't know, man. I just try to block it all out. I said just like with the name calling and stuff like that, and just the kid was just like he was like 18. He was just so young and. But the way he was like handling himself, like as an adult already, to where it was just like, yeah, this kid's gonna be something.
Yeah, his name had been on the map for 5 or 6 years already.
Yeah, 5 or 6 times. Just been in the locker room. Like I was there like with Pudge when he was rehabbing. They was all there together. It was Pudge, Strasburg, and it was Bryce Harper. Like they was all in the locker room with us, man. Like the media, it was nuts, man. It was crazy, but. That just like I would never get starstruck. I was like never that player because I always felt like I can be just as good or better. Right. You know what I mean? So I was just never that like, oh my God, there he is. But the first player I ever did that was when I seen Derek Jeter and A-Rod. It was just like, well, I couldn't say nothing. It was just like I just watch, you know what I mean? Because like I'm always a student to everything, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like I know everything because I don't, so I'm always a student. So I'm always like I'm just like watching them, like just that angle. Dude, they're just from a distance, I'm just like, man, like damn, I just want to go talk to them, have a conversation, just like to see where their mind is at. And I did, I walked up straight to him and I'm like, so how do you be successful for so long? Like, he said reps, doing the exact same thing every single day. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's it. And that's how they carried themselves. Their confidence level, they weren't cocky. It was just that confidence level was freaking out this world, dude, to where like people thought they were, because they felt like they were the best player on that field like every single day. Like all those years they played, they felt that way. Even when they didn't feel good, they always felt like they were the best player. And if I could tell any kid, that's what they need to do. Like if I like mind trick yourself, dude. Like I have kids to me all the time, like, hey, coach, I don't feel good. I said, you can't swing a bat or what? Like, did you stop learning how to hit? Or like, this thing, like, I understand you don't feel good, but can you play? Like, so I'll write you out the lineup. I said, but if that guy right here go 4 for 4, you ain't going back in. But I when I was playing pro ball, like I'll never forget this our hitting instructor came up to us, and he had one guy had got sick and he didn't play. He said, you know who Wally Pipp is? I like, no, man. He was like, let me tell y'all a story, right? So he said, that guy right there, he gonna be a Wally Pipp. That's exactly what he said. He gonna be a Wally Pipp. I'm like, who was Wally Pipp? Like Wally Pipp. Well, he said he could play. He said he was sick, but he was able to play, and but he decided to sit out that game. You know what I mean? And the guy that ended up behind him was Lou Gehrig. You know what I mean? So he said, that guy, he going to be a Wally Pipp. So I bring that story up all the time for my kids, dude. And everybody knows the story of Lou Gehrig. So but I bring that kid out, like, you sick?
And nobody knows Wally Pipp.
Yeah. And nobody knows Wally Pipp.
I had a coach tell me, well, you're too sick to have fun today. I was like, now that you put it that way, no, I'm not.
Yeah, but nobody knows him, So like I said, dude, but just if you can play, like I'd rather for you to struggle to want to be in the lineup just because you're feeling some type of way that day, like your spot might get taken, it might not go back, you might not get it back, So just another life. That's just another life thing, No call, no show. You get fired. Yep,
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, Leonard. This was I know we've been trying to set this up for a while. I'm glad you fit us in.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here for sure. I appreciate y'all.
Don't be a stranger. We're gonna do it again. Maybe get him a bush, get Jacques in here, get the crew one.
We'll get the 04 city team in here.
Yeah. Man.
I hope everybody. If you don't get something out of this, I don't know what's wrong with you. But good luck to Dos Palos, and
thanks, appreciate it.
I hope you have a happy New Year, Chad. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Same thing.
Again, Leonard. No, thank you again, man. That's a fantastic story, dude. I love it, and there's more to it.
Yeah,
it ain't over.
So I have a lot more to say.
But that's Hit or Die. episode 90 with Leonard Davis.
The best Davis brother.
The best
Athlete.
The best athlete.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate it. Hope you have a happy new year. And that's the Hit or Die podcast.
Hit or Die.